Good morning, Cyrille. How are you,
Good
sir?
morning, Wei.
It's a pleasure to be here with you. And I
As
have
usual.
to say, your booth is absolutely magnificent. It makes me
you.
feel so fresh, so energized. Can we take a little tour?
Of course.
Thank you so much. Now, these are very interesting to me because they are time-telling objects of art, time-telling jewelry.
As we say, we are the watchmaker of shape.
Yes.
Everything starts from the design. And also use the attention of the jewelry to details.
Right.
To make a very unique shapes piece and can combine the best of time watchmaking or jewelry or both. But it's not necessary to have diamonds that express the jewelry. It's kind of the perfection of shapes.
You're absolutely right. Let's take a look at this, for example. Now, this is extraordinary to me because it's adaptable. It can be clipped onto any part of your
Absolutely.
outfit, right? And
The point we say, how can you go out kind of the wristwatch? Or if you reinvent the pocket watch, it comes in with a chain, that you put something somewhere on you, what can it be? And then you say, no, we use a kind of, the key rings, clips, and so forth. Everyone has little things coming from the house key. If you want something very precious, telling time, what can it be? And the studio came with that and say, can you make this? And did it, and it's very playful, funny, beautiful, something unique. We love it. It's been shown already in California and sold already.
wow,
Yes.
fantastic.
It was called polymorph, meaning you see all the kind of different shape you can use.
And it's polymorphic. So
And
you
polymorphic,
can adapt it however you wish.
Exactly.
Cyrille, let me ask you a question. What is your favorite human quality?
Courage.
Very good. And would you
And the
say,
second, empathy,
is
kindness.
is it more important for a leader to be kind or to be courageous?
I would say kind, because it needs courage to be kind.
I absolutely agree with you. And you have been a real example of ethical leadership to me as well.
Thank you.
You have demonstrated that you can create incredible success. If I'm not mistaken, you are the #2 watch brand in the world.
We are.
At 3.1 billion Swiss francs at wholesale. And can you be kind while building an empire such as that as well?
Well, the point is not to build an empire. The point is to serve the brand, to serve the maison. And if you do things by being true to what we do, when we have such a patrimony, we can bring to light so many wonders that many people want them. And if you do that, you don't have, to flex muscle or do things. Just kind of do things respectfully for all the fantastic creation, and then work with your partners also in respect and help them do their best. And if you do that and with continuous improvement, then comes something that comes success. So it's not a part to be aggressive, it's a part to be consistent.
It's wonderful that you say that, and I always feel that the prevailing ethos of a company comes from leadership down. One thing I hear and I experience myself, whether I walk into a Cartier boutique or I speak to people here at the booth, is there's a prevailing sense of being nice to others, being respectful to others. How important was it for you to instill this?
Well, there can be some sectors where you think that you have to be aggressive, you have to be demanding, you have to be tough, and that's the way things work. There is this saying in California saying only the paranoiacs survive, and I don't agree at all. Sometimes paranoiacs survive, but they survive in kind of loneliness. But there is another way, if you're optimistic with the human gender or human race, is to say there is a place for kindness, and a place for knowledge, and a place for enjoying beauty together. And if you cultivate that, then you can rejoice together. So I much prefer rejoicing together than fighting each other constantly. And seeing how the world is going, where constantly in the world there is two tension of how they can bring peace or bringing kind of fights. We are more in the case to bring peace.
I absolutely love that.
And it works as well. It's not that the only paranoiacs survive. Some paranoiacs do survive, but some those were really nice, open, and genuinely generous. They also have tremendous success.
And probably enjoy your life a lot more as well, I should imagine. Cyrille, a lot of the watches that we see here have been around for a century, or perhaps even more.
Yes, that's what timelessness means.
What is the secret to durability or timelessness?
Well, the secret for durability is to have first a sense of proportion that are just. If there's kind of a part we see that human aesthetics in some way doesn't change that much, like the golden number, for instance, and if you work on that, what is correct now will be correct also and true and just in 20 or 30 or 50 years. So of course you just cannot really know and realize when you do something whether it will pass the test of time. But if you look at all of them who have passed this test and continue to be fine now, then say that the job has been done properly. And if you look back, you say, oh, but some have been overlooked at some moment. You bring them down, you see how modern they are. So the question is, the modernity is not what is new, but what talks to us now. And if you work constantly on the proportion and shape, you're quite likely to have something that can be true now and now. Remember last year we launched the Vigneron bangle?
I remember.
It was anew, and everyone thought it was meant to be. It was like it had been there forever.
Right.
Which means that the original idea of the Vigneron, probably in the creator's mind, there was something like that, but they probably could not make it in that moment.
Yes.
You make it 100 years later, and it looks absolutely fine, as if it was there 100 years before.
Right.
Many creation, you look at them, you say, is it new? Is not new? When you see all of them, where you have the the comparison with original vintage model
Right.
and recent interpretation, they both look fine. Sometimes you see the size slightly different, sometimes you see there's a different in kind of a dial and so forth, but overall they all look incredibly modern, incredibly fine.
I love that. You know,
So that's about the obsession for shape, and then also the curiosity for all versions also of aesthetics. In the beginning of 20th century, the designer looked at the old Islamic art from Cordoba or Sevilla, where there were the architecture of the buildings, of the cupola, of the motif, of the frieze, and so forth, and then got inspired by that. But also inspired by Asia, to see how has been the representation of perspective without having the kind of the Renaissance view, the subjective view of the viewer. If you look at that, then whether from Monet, who was inspired by Hokusai, or Van Gogh by Hiroshige, or by Ogata Korin, then try to represent this form and say that they've been there for hundreds and hundreds of years, meaning they had also come to touching the human soul for a long, long time.
Wow.
So if you see, you come to open curiosity on the world's best and say, let's try to get inspired by that, to make something which is aesthetically right and symbolically also important and meaningful for people.
I love that.
And then you see them 100 years later, it's as nice. When I go to Japan in April, I always go to the Nezu Museum in Aoyama, where you have for 1 month only the fantastic screen of Ogata Korin or Maruyama Okio. And the one with the irises especially, or the one with the season, or the one with terriers. And they are super fresh and beautiful today. And it lifts my mind. So it's like also seeing the old Japanese, but also Chinese painting, because in the 18th century they were very close. And how to find the beauty on the mountain, the beauty hidden behind the clouds, or all these, then can touch your mind now. So all these things that can touch you now are modern. And if you apply the same element of inspiration, they can do things that are done now, seem to be there forever, and will still be in 100 years and appreciated by a new generation who found them super, super modern.
I love that.
So here you have, yes, I say vintage pieces for tonneau or tank cintré or crash, and some recent editions. And this one can have also some other one, you know perfectly well on the cloche, on the tank chinois asymétrique. And you see, if you reinterpret them on a very respectful, but bring sometimes slight change in size or dial, so forth, then you can bring a modern touch, but you know exactly where it comes from. And by doing that also, for young generation who didn't know this one before, it raised the attention again, and then they can come. Remember a discussion you had with Eric Koo? They say, how do you start a collection? You say, go to the new Cartier Privé, because then you can get familiar with the shape. You can afford them, it's not too much. And if you get really serious into it, then go to an auction and try to get the vintage one.
Right.
That, of course, different budget.
Of course.
But then the one that can be really sought after.
I love that.
So by doing this, also we have regained the interest of collectors. And if we had not made new series, you couldn't have this one, because there are very few in the market.
Absolutely.
So we're happy we could make this wonderful one.
Incredibly honored. You mentioned the Benoit on a bangle.
Yes,
Yeah,
so we have one there.
I have a very good friend named Mark Cho, who's an elegant guy.
Yes.
And he's actually wearing two of them stacked on his on his right wrist, like bracelets. And I love what you always said about Cartier not necessarily being representative of any gender, but about strength of character.
Yes, absolutely. So as we are moving now where there are less and less gender stereotypes, and so everyone can take different sign of identity. So we see more and more men wearing a peignoir bangle or a peignoir on leather strap, or mixing with other things, and women wearing more kind of sports watches that were supposed to be more masculine.
Right.
So everything now is possible and fluid, and that's wonderful because the Cartier usually design include characters and what we can mix in masculine and feminine. The panther is masculine and feminine. You can say a leopard, which would be masculine, or you can say panther will be feminine, and it has kind of a strength and power, protection and softness as well. And so if you see all those, we have kind of a blending square and round, strength and softness, like the claw we saw. It's both very strong and very sweet. Then the Cartier is perfectly in tune with time, and you can choose the right level of power, of strength, softness, simplicity, or exuberance that you want to express yourself at a different moment of time. You see, it's wearing like a piece of jewelry on your wrist. It's a watch which is more than a watch. If I wear this kind of a Trinity box,
I love that, incidentally.
It's also very playful and nice, and it can be wearable by me, by my son, by my daughter, by my wife, by everyone in the family can wear that. But it's not that it's a kind of a unisex in the way there is no character. It has a lot of character and very much power.
Well, even whatever finger that you place it on. I have a friend, Andrew Lauren, Ralph Lauren's son, and he went to your event, and he's wearing it on his small finger as well, and it looks
Cocteau.
Yes, like Cocteau did, and it looks phenomenal.
But the fact that the square one looks very, very modern. The same, it's a 100-year of a product, which is the Trinity ring. I say, how can we reinvent that? And the studio say, let's make it square. I'll give you a square ring, and especially with three. And in fact, it's very comfortable. It moves very well. It's very modern, unique, and it's there. So I guess you have seen also those elements of inventing the world. Of say how the imagination can come to a bestiary, which is both creative, symbolic, or representing something very realistic, or imaginative. And the best again of the watch and the jewelry together, meaning it's a watch case, origin from also the pebble, but with this kind of a morph and diamonds and stone and so on that make it absolutely beautiful. I wanted to see also the kind of inspiration of say, it's a kind of dream life. So it's and this was kind of a wild nature, but it's supposed to say, it's to express our own nature. It's not say, not put ourselves in the jungle, but what is the jungle inside us? Or the Egyptian part where you say the god and goddess have human bodies and animal heads.
Right.
While we tend to think the opposite, say we have a human head and you can have an animal body, like the Sphinx. But if you think these are the perspectives, the kind of part of our nature that connects the most with the nature is the part we have in our head, in all the dreams and all the feeling and emotion that connects us with the world. So our body being an antenna and our brain being connected more than we think to our own nature, but to the entire nature. And can also have these like that. I say it's kind of sculpture.
Right.
So is it a watch? Is it a jewelry? Is it a piece of art?
Yes.
It's all in one. And the level of know-how needed to do that is just amazing.
Well, it's wonderful to see an elevation of so many beautiful pieces of métier d'art. But I think that what you did fundamentally to remind the world and reconnect Cartier with its position as the king of elegance really created a beautiful foundation for all of this.
Also, there's something very pure and simple.
Right.
Like the talk to.
Which is wonderful.
And I guess you have seen the mono pusher.
I love the mono pusher. So perhaps,
which was also the thick, coming from a thick case to a thin one.
yes. And from a movement that was round to a movement that is shaped like a tortue as well.
Exactly.
That's absolutely cool. Well, Cyrille, thank you so much for allowing us to tour this booth with you. It is a wonderful demonstration of Cartier's singular, and I know you, singular position as the king of elegance, both in terms of shaped watches, but also in terms of time-telling objects of art, which you do so beautifully. I visited your manufacturer, but I want to congratulate you on creating something exceptional.
Thank you.